Good morning, Facebook, and good morning, YouTube. We are streaming live, and I am Jessica Alstrom, and I am bringing you my second Sunday energy update that I do every month, second Sunday of the month. Been doing this for the last, 6 or 7 years now, and just kind of bringing you the energy report of where we are, kind of bringing all that information together of the highs and lows of the month energetically, kind of projecting out what's to come. And if you're just hearing me for the first time, I'm Jessica Alstrom. I'm the creator of the Quantum Method Academy. We are all over the world teaching people how to become more of who they truly are. And my highest joy is to help people access human potential. We already have spiritual potential, but it is really about bringing that into that human space and being able to really walk the journey that we choose to walk. Also the creator of the Quantum Revolution Tour. We do an international world tour where we can bring all of our big quantum tech all around the world and help in 3 days move everyone into a different parallel reality or a different experience of their choice by showing people basically how to live through frequency and vibration and alter their consciousness. So lots of cool stuff this month, right? We're sitting here. I'm in Kansas City, which is kind of the center point of the United States. We just got some really big news that we have a brand new president that's going to be taking office this January. Some people are very, very excited about this. Some people are very upset about this. So it's interesting because I'll be able to use this Second Sunday platform as a perspective and a mirror for you to be able to see where you are vibrating in your now reality. So whether you're in the United States witnessing it firsthand, or you're watching the fishbowl kind of analogy all around the world, because I know that this pandemic has affected all of us. This isn't just something that's happening in the US. We have literally been in this together since March. We have, for the first time, realized how completely unfree we were. We realized, how we had to force ourselves into conformity when we're all natural rule breakers. We actually had to look in the mirror at our big authority issues, and we had to redefine what was truth. We had to redefine our own laws. We had to redefine so many things this year. I look at this year as the vision quest. I actually even wrote a workshop to help people navigate 2020 because biblically, or the prophecy of this particular year, is a breaking point, but a breaking point is a rebirthing. And a rebirthing within all of us stems from us cracking wide open and us moving away from what we believe to what we truly are, because our beliefs are basically what create our reality. And the more that we believe in something wholeheartedly, the more we get kind of stuck and locked into it because we get that tunnel vision. So really this year was about exposure. It was about pushing you to the limits of your personal uncomfortable state of being. You weren't allowed to rush into the future. You weren't allowed to avoid the present moment. You had to face your past. You had to face your fears. You had to face your people in your life. You had to face the mere reflection of maybe some limited energy that you've been avoiding. And really what it comes down to at this place in time is we have some new decisions that have been made, especially for the United States. And the United States is kind of the representation of the micro of the macro. It really is the melting pot for the whole planet. And what happens here really has a ricochet effect throughout the whole world. It also lets us act as this kind of reality show where you get to see all of that inner dysfunction and outer chaos explode right here in front of you. And I'm kind of broadcasting from that center point, or what I like to call the heart chakra of the United States, and trying to bring you a different type of broadcast. We're watching our media really, for the first time. I think the planet has been very aware of how one-directional our media has become, and how syndicated and how separated we have become from being able to share. And, the fact checkers and the conspiracy theories and the World Wide Web and the dark web and, the red pill and the blue pill and the Democrats and, the Republicans and, the rest of the planet in the United States. And really what you can see is that we are manifesting in living time and form our separation. And even for me, a big metaphorical follower of that kind of documentary, The Matrix, I always kind of look at myself as a quantum life coach or a teacher as kind of that Morpheus role. And that Morpheus is not to do the work for you, but to show you where it is that you are believing about yourself that is limiting you, and really kind of taking that role on in my classrooms. And even did a big photo shoot where I kind of reenacted the idea of the Matrix with the blue pill and the red pill, except I used smoke. It was pretty cool. But the idea is separation. Like, okay, if you choose the blue pill, what is going to happen to you? Like, if you choose the red pill, what is going to happen to you? If you choose the Republican side, what is going to happen to you? If you choose the Democratic side, what is going to happen to you? What is going to happen to the rest of the world that's watching us make those choices, right? What's happening to them in their towns when they're making choices? Wear the mask, don't wear the mask, right? So it's like, really, it comes down to, if anything has been really projected this year, is our insatiable desire to stay separate, right? Because think about it, if you understand the whole concept of spirituality, what color represents spirit? Purple. What color makes purple? Blue and red, right? So it's kind of like coming together is what we're being taught right now. And that even choosing sides of what presidency or president we think is going to set us free is limitation, separation, and lack. When we think that one president is going to lead us into freedom and abundance and sovereignty, we are highly mistaken, because it isn't the presidency that has ever had the power to create your reality. It has always been you deciding how in control you were of your own vibration, how in control you were with your own story, what trauma you still have sitting there, what limitations, what separation and lack you're still vibrating, and then projecting that out on a codependent, right? And saying, please do this work for me. There was even a moment for me where, I looked at who was going to win the presidency, and I felt my energy drop a little. Not because I was choosing a side, but, this particular president had this platform, this particular, candidate had this platform. And I was negotiating what was going to be the fastest level of expansion for humanity. And so I was still parlaying in a judgment, when ultimately, and what my whole entire Second Sunday is about, is something that I've taught my entire career for the last 10 years, that unfortunately I learned through practical experience, is that every negative is a shortcut in the quantum universe. Every time you experience a negative pressurized moment in time, you shift. Now, when things are easy and flowing and gentle, and things are done for you and decisions are made for you, you go with the flow of whoever is in charge. Now, when you get uncomfortable and someone's making a decision that you don't like, and someone brings a policy, or someone tells you you have to wear a mask, whoa. That authority energy within you as an empath and as a sensitive gets triggered. And when that gets triggered, the trauma of you not being sovereign and free rises to the occasion and shows itself to you. Okay? And this is the power of not getting your way. This is the power of us still choosing something outside of ourselves to dictate our humanity, right? Whether it be light or dark, right? Some empaths, some sensitive, some light workers believe that we've been sent from heaven in order to heal the darkness on the planet. Some of the other energies on the planet believe that they are here to wipe out the light, regardless of what perspective you are viewing your movie through. It really doesn't matter, because inside light, if it's able to judge darkness, must be dark. And darkness that is able to witness light must be light. So what is actually occurring on planet Earth right now is a very big a manifestation of the separation that we continue to choose. And as long as we continue to choose separation, We will play out the art of war. Now, when I downloaded what I believe was 2020 year was the Vision Quest. And if you understand the idea of a Vision Quest, it's really about letting go of all your false security and stripping yourself of anything that could protect you and going out in the wilderness and surviving. But the quintessential 2020 Vision Quest that I'm talking about is an inward journey. Yes, we've been stripped. Yes, our comfort zones have been rocked. Yes, we have been bored. We have been insecure. We've been uncertain. We've been in fear. We've been in judgment. We've been in shame. We've been in guilt. We've been in all of those because we've had to sit in it, which is so good for us, right? And when you look at the idea of, well, what's wrong and right, and what's black and white, and what's dark and light, and what's evil and what's love, I am not talking about letting go of anything that has done or hurt you. I'm not justifying and making that less for you. But what I am saying is that as the child within you, your parents may be horrible. They may have positive attributes and they may have negative attributes. And not once did you love them less for either or. You did not love them less. You, parents out there, whether they be real kids or fur babies, they are not without emotion. They are not without feelings. They are not without negative and positive behavior throughout the whole course of your relationship. Yet, you do not define them as bad or good. You unconditionally love the aspects that create them, the contrast. So as you move into this fifth dimensional energy, you will realize that you can choose the idea of your blending points to create a new level of contrast, instead of the third and fourth dimension being about contrast of what's right and wrong, and contrast about what's love and light, and then the contrast of basically bringing both aspects together and creating a holistic version of healed darkness and reconciled light. Because there's one thing that I like to share with light workers out there that are so in judgment of darkness, and they won't leave their house because their empathy gets attacked, and they have social anxiety, and they have horrible stories that have made them who they are, and they've been abused, and they've been abandoned, and they've been rejected, and they've been seriously hurt. But the concept of that idea is that has been what has made you sensitive, that has made you empathic, that has made you intuitive. All right. So everything negative is a shortcut. Your dark nights lead you quicker to the dawn, and are forced into realizing how separate we are still playing in 2020. Right? If you look at 2020, you look at a mirror version of yourself, it's identical. Okay? And 2021 is oneness. It is all about oneness. It is all about the one, the dark, the light, the blue, the red, merging in together into this purple. Okay? And this idea that the light is actually technically here to reconcile its judgment of the darkness, and the darkness is here to reconcile its judgment of the light. It's like two siblings. Well, why does she always get the red cup? Why does he always get the blue cup? Right? There will always be a perspective that you can take that separates you. And as long as you continue to separate yourself from political parties and agendas and ideas, you will stay in the shadow of your own enemy. Because what it is that you judge about darkness is alive and well in you, because judgment is a safety mechanism. Okay? Anger is a bodyguard. Anger is sadness's bodyguard. Sadness is grief. Griefness is homeless love. All right? And judgment is a safety mechanism. Every time you judge something, you are protecting yourself. Now, what are you protecting yourself from if you are a divine creator? If you are the one, if you are here to manifest your own reality, what do you really have to protect yourself from? Well, you probably have to protect yourself from a belief system that you're not really a creator. Maybe you're protecting yourself from some trauma. Maybe you're protecting yourself from some safety issues of being hurt in the past by something that felt like what you're witnessing. And as long as you are protecting yourself, you are unconscious. Because protection is a form of victim frequency. It's a form of being in lack. It's a form of feeling that you could be hurt or destroyed. Now, energy can't be destroyed. It just changes forms. So you see that anytime you're in judgment of what has happened, you are in a restimulation of a wound or a trauma that has yet to be reconciled within you. So technically, 2021 is going to be the year of reconciliation. Now, I've been working with my class really diligently on this aspect, and we're moving in, getting prepped up for 2021 as basically humans. You know, this isn't even about being a light worker. This is about being a sovereign human. This is about being self-governed. This is about walking your talk. This is about being an example of the Christed consciousness, aka photonic light energy creator. This is about you creating the reality that you choose no matter what is happening around you. And the more you are in resistance of what is happening around you, the worse it's going to appear. Because resistance is always a manifested match instantly, because what you resist, you persist. It's the law of physics. It's the law of nature. It's the law of the universe. They don't make this stuff up. Right? And the more you resist change, the more you resist separation, the more you resist judgment, the more you judge, the more that you are in judgment of. Okay. Now, it's very, very easy to be influenced because you are a energy being that has a Taurus-like energy. You are always in the flow of cause and effect, constantly, no matter what, no matter where you are. So you're putting out data, you're taking in data. You're putting out data, you're taking in data. And it takes a high level of awareness to determine what you're taking in. Are you taking in what you choose to take in? Are you taking in people that you want to take in, ideas that you want to take in, decisions that have been taken in? Or do you want to use what is happening around you as a mirrored reflection of the consciousness that is either resolved or unresolved within you? Because if it triggers you, it's still alive and well in your shadow aspect. And if it inspires you, it is where you are complete. So you can navigate and play hot and cold with your physical reality constantly by determining, well, this is still triggering me, so this is part of my unconsciousness. This is inspiring me, so that's part of my expansion. That's part of my healed space. You're here to create your reality through discernment and choice, not through going with the flow, not through electing someone else who's going to do it for us. Because we've understood, especially in the United States, that most of the time the presidency is a puppet anyways. What is the puppet attached to? We don't know. A shadow aspect, just like our conscious self is attached to our unconscious self that's really navigating the show. And the show is coming from the spaces that you are conscious and unconscious too. Okay? So the energy report for November. Right, we are sitting here on November the 8th, 2020, and we're sitting in what is either a great victory for you or a great defeat for you based in what you were hoping would happen. Maybe if you're somewhere else in the world, you don't care at all, right? But know secretly that whatever happens in the US does have a ripple effect, because we are like that reality trash TV that infects all of you, no matter what, because we are the micro of the macro. So what we do here does affect the planet. Now, some of you are going, I'm not paying attention to any of that. Well, if you're not paying attention to any of that, what I want you to do is I want you to pull in and look at your intimate relationships. Intimacy. Into me, I see. You are having a political agenda or a political warfare or a political discussion right in your own home. Could be with your spouse, right? My spouse is taking the red pill. I want him to take the blue pill. My spouse is taking the blue pill. I wanted him to take the red pill, right? Where are you in separation and judgment of the energy that you have yet reconciled? So reconciliation, if you follow the Bible, although very metaphorically, it is exactly right on time. Time is the biggest human wound that is being manifested right now globally. Time is usually manifested as a wound at age 5, the same year of self-love in the 7-year cycle. Us as energy beings, we're constantly rebuilding ourselves through self-awareness and more forward motion through a 7-year cycle, just like our bodies do. That's why we can recreate our bodies. We can recreate our minds. We can recreate our destinies through frequency and vibration. But in year 5, in a healthy childhood, we should have manifested the idea of self-love. Now, what is self-love? I am sovereign. I am a beautiful person, regardless if I'm angry, sad, throwing a tantrum. I am worthy, even if I haven't done anything. I am in contribution because my soul loves to show love through service. And I am complete, which means time would disappear except for the platform of using it as a foundation, a blueprint, or an empty slate, right? An empty canvas. That is the purpose of time. So because most of us collectively, didn't get to have that self-loving experience by the age 5. We took time and we made time the reason why we couldn't have what we wanted. We made time and space contracting. We turned it into a jail cell. Now, the reason why I know this is not because I'm super enlightened, but I had the opportunity of raising a child through the 7-year cycle while witnessing the 7-year cycle and dictating and documenting every single thing that happened within him. By the time he got to age 5, he was asking me what time it was. He was asking when did he have to go to his dad's because he was sad to leave me. He would be playing with his toys, realize he was having so much fun that now he's worried about how much time he has left. He's running out of time. I'm realizing that the self-love is not integrating as quickly as I would have liked it as a parental unit. Now, maybe this is way over your head. Maybe you've been following me for a few years and you're like, I'm getting this, Jess. It doesn't matter to me. I'm saying what I'm saying. So basically what I am saying is this is your year to reconcile your blue pill and your red pill, okay? Your go back to sleep and your awaken and become responsible to your own frequency and vibration and become the creator of your reality. Doesn't matter. You're here to reconcile both aspects of you because there's a part of you, you guys, I know. This work, how many times have we been like, I wish I didn't know this. You know, I wish I didn't have to do this. I wish I didn't have to keep having these dark nights. I wish I didn't have to, keep getting my heartbreak to learn. I wish I didn't have to have the negatives, right? But if you guys have been following me and I give tons and tons of free classes away on YouTube all the time, when I teach quantum healing, I always tell this one famous story, and I'm going to tell it until I die because it is the best story of all times. I had a woman come to me who was a dear friend, and she said, Jess, I want to hire you to help me. And I said, what are you hiring me for? And she goes, I want to be happy. I just want to be happy. I'm not happy. I said, great. Are you willing to confront what shows up in the path and on the way to that happiness? Absolutely, 100%. Okay, when you ask, it's given. Right? What you put out is what you get back. It's cause and effect. Some people call it karma. I call it what you put in is what you get out. So she set the intention and we started on her journey. Within about a week and a half of us working together, her fiance broke up with her. It was his home, so he asked her to move out. And after a 16-year career in the jewelry business, she was fired. Okay? In the same week. And she came back to me and said, hello, I just hired you to help me be happy. And so I sat with her in total zen and I said, were you happy with your fiance? Well, no. Good. Were you happy in the job that kept passing you up for promotions every year and asking you to work overtime with no extra pay and taking your insurance away every year? Well, not really. Good. Did you like that home? Or did you bitch about it all the time because that's the home he lived with his ex-girlfriend and you wanted your own home? Well, yeah. Enter happiness, enter space, enter time. Because what you guys are going to get first, before you get what you want, is you're going to get the clearing of the time and space. That's what you're going to manifest first, is you're going to manifest the time and the space to clean the slate. Now, your ego, or that lower asleep version of you that's traumatized by physical reality, is going to say, wait a second, everything is gone, or everything is leaving, or that's not the way I wanted, or I had an expectation that everything was just going to fix itself and he was going to spontaneously be the man that I always wanted him to be, and the job was going to finally give me the promotion, and the house was going to somehow change how I felt about it, even though if you get to the brass tacks, you didn't want any of it. Now, I tell this story over and over again because it is the best analogy of what is happening right now. What is happening right now is exactly that. You're either getting what you want disguised as a lesson, or you're not getting what you want disguised as a fast track. Because those of you who are getting what you want right now, right? And it feels like everything is there, that is where the lightness rises and the shadows will be easier seen for you. So you'll be able to pluck those triggers much easier when you get what you want, because when you are uncomfortable, it'll be much more noticeable. You're moving out. We are moving out of the collective survival space of reality. Even though it feels like the world is very dark and scary and evil, we are moving out of that timeline, you guys. We are moving away from those stories. We are moving into free will choice. Some people have had the best year ever in a pandemic. Some people have lost their jobs and it's been the best year. Some people have fallen madly in love this year after the loss of someone they loved. Some people have manifested trauma after trauma after trauma. And I will tell you that the universe is not playing favorites. It's not giving, the toddler the red cup when it wanted the blue cup. It is giving you what you need to move into your space of self-awareness that you are asking for. It's just not coming in the box that you have asked for. Or it looks like it's coming in the box that you've asked for, and then it's going to reveal more of what you've asked for in that space. So whether it's a win for you right now or a loss for you right now, it's going to be a win-win if you look at it from a place of expansion, right? You take the blue and the red and you mix it together and you get wisdom, right? A parent, especially this, I know I have 4 of them, 4 kids, 25, 23, 14, and soon to be 8-year-old kids. And as I look at them, they are both the dark version of me and the light version of me. Okay? Every one of them, different aspects of my own light and dark. My potentials, my limits, my weaknesses, my insecurities, my creativity. It exists within all of them at the same time, which means there is no child that's like, yep, that's my whole light version, and yep, that's my whole shadow version. It is a mixed bag of deliciousness, and it is there to show me that is what's perfect. That combination, the contrast of both the dark and the light aspects pulling to create balance always from themselves, the insecurity moving into self-love, the self-love showering energy on the insecurity is actually what makes the journey. You're never going to get away from one aspect of yourself because you're here to be both. As you have settled into this physical dimension, you have asked to be both. You have asked to love the dark and love the light equal amounts. You cannot be too light or you wouldn't be seen. So you must have a shadow. And that shadow is actually what you came to reconcile. And the light that you are resisting and rejecting about yourself, some of you have big fears of success. Some of you have big fears of standing in the light. Some of you are disguising those fears of greatness, disguised by fear of failure. You will be reconciling that this year. This year is going to be the reconciliation of your soul. It's going to be the soul saying, let's go to counseling. Right? Let's mediate. So I can't tell you how many times when I was going through a divorce that my child said to me, Mommy, I love Daddy and I love you. Can you guys just be friends? And I'm saying, well, yes, but he can't, right? And so then I'm saying, can he not? Or is that a part of me that doesn't believe that he can? Right? So many times you look at your children and they're focusing on the negative side of them, and you show them the positive aspects of themselves. And you say, yeah, that might be a limit, but look at your potential here. And look the fact that you could take that potential and turn it into, so much power. You could take that limit and shift it. And that's where we are right now. We have we have sat in the middle of our vision quest, and we're looking at how separate we actually are. And you can figure out how separate a nation is by Facebook, which is literally the epitome of dark and light shadow. It is lots of great news, a lot of false news, a lot of bitching and moaning, a lot of, tantrums, a lot of judgment, a lot of separation, a lot of opinions, right? Squeaked in with the happy story of the kittens playing. It's the whole masses all pushed together. And instead of going, wow, look at the contrast. Look at the fact that I can be super upset in 1 minute and then laugh the second. I love this existence. I love the fact that I don't have to assign emotion. I don't have to give it meaning. I don't have to turn this emotion, energy in motion, into a feeling if I don't choose, because a feeling then has to be assigned something. Like, let's take the idea of energy of anger. I have seen a toddler be angry with no feeling attached to it. Okay? They're just angry. And as soon as they reconcile the anger and it moves in and out of them, they move back into joy. But what we do as we get older, because we're taught to resist and judge our anger, judgment is what creates separation. And remember, judgment is a safety mechanism. Oh, shoot, I'm angry. I'm not supposed to be angry. Let me assign a meaning why I'm angry so I can justify my cause. I'm angry because you took my toy. Now it's a feeling, and now the brain tells the body that I'm angry because you took my toy. When really, I was angry because I wasn't getting the frequency that I required, so I needed to adjust my position, adjust my angle, adjust my perspective, and move into alignment. Okay? This is advanced quantum theory today, guys, but you're ready for it. If you're here, if you've been following me on YouTube, you've been following me on Facebook, you're getting nuggets of what I'm saying. And what I'm saying is that the more that you go along the bandwagon of separation, regardless of what team you want to play on, the more you are participating in separation, the longer this is going to take. So if you are at war with who has been chosen to be our president, or you are at war with what your government is doing, or you are at war with yourself or money or time or your relationships or your children right now, then the art of war needs to be disclosed, as the only enemy will ever be in the mirror. The separation that you're judging outside of you is a separation of self. So it's an interesting fact that someone actually texted me the other night from my advanced master class and said, so Vision Quest was 2020. What's going to be 2021? And I said, I have no idea. I don't know. Until last night. And went to sleep. Fine. Woke up. All of a sudden, I'm quoting quotes from this book called Art of War that I've never read once, looked at, heard my mom discuss when I was a child, never once participated in even knowing what it was. And I kept seeing the colors blue and red merging together into purple. And so I decided that I would go on YouTube and see if I could, get a little snippet from the book, because it happens to be a book, The Art of War. And the first 5 minutes blew my mind, because basically it was the idea of all these separate components blending together to make the most delicious reality that you could possibly experience. Because honey, cinnamon do not taste good unless you mix it with something else, right? It's the blending that brings true love. And it is the separation of the parts of yourself that you cannot love, the parts of yourself that you are hiding, that you're going to constantly project into other people, places, and things. And you're going to disguise it as something that you are at war with. We are not in a spiritual war. We're in a war with the mirror. We are in a war with the mirror. So as we move forth, it will feel like a war. It will feel like a spiritual war. It will feel like a civil war. Isn't that interesting? Civil wars when you fight with yourself. Autoimmune is when your immune system attacks itself. Is this not a metaphor for where we are right now? And the way that I look at it is the candidate that was chosen to represent our country for the next 4 years will be the one to expose the quickest this separation. So every negative is a shortcut. And I'm not saying who's chosen is a negative or a positive. I'm saying that there is a lot of people who are saying, yes, this is our answer. And yes, this is our problem. And both are incorrect. Because the truth is the answer is in the mirror. And, I haven't been alive in my 45 years where a president-elect got into office and somebody didn't have a problem with it. Because again, everybody has a problem somewhere with themselves. And it's so much easier for us to judge outwardly than to take physical responsibility, because God forbid that we're just angry. Let's look at that again, because higher self keeps bringing me back to that. The idea of a toddler just being angry. Are you looking at that toddler and saying that toddler is evil because he has a lower emotion, because his vibration dropped, because he's feeling a feeling, or he's feeling something, emotion? No, that child does not actually become unhappy with anger until he's not allowed to be angry. And then when he's not allowed to be angry, he has to hold himself back from himself and separate, decide what it means, and then give a reason for his anger to be justified. And as soon as his anger is justified, he's now separate from his emotion, and now he's in a feeling state. And feelings create more hormones than emotion. Emotion comes in and out like the wind, and a feeling is like a hurricane. A feeling is an emotion that has been given meaning. And when something is given meaning, it becomes real. And when it becomes real, your five senses adopt it and adapt to it and create a physical reality about it. So now your tourist system that is taking in data and exporting data, importing data, taking out data, is now deciding what is happening around you as bad or good. So if you're deciding that it's good, you'll use it as a catalyst to create more change. And if you're looking at it as bad, you're going to use it as a catalyst to create more change. It is non-duality disguised as duality, guys. We are playing the game of non-duality, and we are pretending that we are in duality. There is no dark or light other than what you are resisting, rejecting, and judging within yourself. Okay? So maybe some, people are going to be like, nope, that's not true. There's evil, there's light, there's God, there's the devil. But really, there's one omnipresent being that wants to experience all of itself, every aspect of itself, the side that shines like a prism and reflects the light, and the opaque side that absorbs the light. Love, fear, dark, light. You came to love unconditionally all aspects of you, and you're meeting your karmic selves in people, places, and things disguised as your physical reality. One of the things that I was talking about in my Q&A the other day that is actually on YouTube is that you think that you are on this planet with all these people. You think that you're having this experience and you're bumping up against different belief systems and different ideas and different past lives, and really it's you. And as a creator and an actor in your movie, you're going to need people, places, and things to help you act out the story that you came to demonstrate. You came to demonstrate a story, a purpose, an idea, a reality. And therefore, you need people, places, and things to exaggerate that. Because you sitting in a white room would be pretty boring. So you create, through these fractal pieces of yourself of unhealed karmic and cosmic energy, you project these images and these things around you that are mirrors. Your intimate relationships, your family relationships, your religious relationships, your school relationships, your government relationships, your society relationships, your gender relationships. And you believe that you are bumping up against disagreement when really you're just bumping up against an aspect of yourself, disguised because it was judged. And when it was judged, it was separated. And when it separates, it becomes the blue and the red, right? And if you watch the movie The Matrix, the documentary, I like to say, you see that everything that he's trying to prove exists does not exist. And when he finally moves into surrender, which I saw America move into 3 days of surrender while everything was getting tallied up and counted. We've had to experience a lot of surrender this year. Surrender is the frequency of miracles. When we are in a true state of surrender, we are not judging and resisting an outcome. We are having to let go. We are waiting for whatever energy to manifest. And it is in that space, remember, when you give yourself time and space, you can create something new. So whether you got some good news yesterday or some bad news yesterday, that is really just a belief system based in who and what you have left to determine. You know, we don't need a certain type of president to overcome darkness. We don't need a certain type of president to help us. We need to become that idea and become sovereign in that space of making up your own rules and holding yourself accountable to your own desires and working on your own shadows and eyes on your own paper and creating love that challenges time and space and darkness. Because I challenge all of you guys to take something that is hurtful to you and instead of resisting it, love it. It will transform instantly and you will start playing the non-duality game instead of the duality game of that hurts me, that's not me. Because really what it does is it leaves you insecure, feeling hopeless. And there's one workshop that I have recommended over and over and over again over the years. Most of you guys in my community have done it several times, but I'm going to rewind it because it's really relevant right now, and it's called Warrior Training. And Warrior Training was created in 2018 to get you ready for what is happening right now. And it is basically all of your biggest level of wounding with time and space, you know, intimate relationships, money, you know, your own body, your relationships with your church, your families, all these ideas, and moving you into alignment of balance within them. Because really, when you get to the fifth dimension, you're no longer in a state of choice. You're in a state of isness. You're sitting back going, yeah, it is exactly where it needs to be for our greatest level of expansion, right? If there is darkness that exists and it gets, you know, put into office, we'll be able to see it easier, right? And it's easier to work in the shadows than it is into the light, because if you've ever been on a movie set, you know that most of the magic happens behind the scenes. Most of the magic of your reality is going to happen subconsciously, right? It's not going to be your day-to-day actions or what you say. It's going to be your behavior. And your behavior is the biography of your mind. It is the biography of your state of being, is where you are vibrating. So again, it all comes back to us. It all comes back to, are we collectively just going to join hands and say, you know what, I'm done being separate from you. I'm done judging this person's perspective, being afraid of this person's view or what this person has done in the shadows, you know, and stop putting this person up here because this is what they look like they've done from the light. I mean, even Jesus himself had to go and do some reconciliation. You know, he didn't even make his debut on the scene till he was in his 30s. What do you think he was doing? Right? He was reconciling his own shadow to become the state of non-duality so he could act as an example, right? And the whole idea of the resurrection idea is moving us into a rebirthing energy. We've gone through the vision quest, which means we're having all 9 months of that gestation period, and we are moving into our birth cycle. This 2021 represents the one. It represents the mirror image of 2020, which is perfect vision, and number one, which means omnipresence, the number one, okay? That it is just us. So when we decide that we're done separating ourselves from our shadows and judging ourselves from our shortcomings and facing our insecurities and handling our own business and becoming sovereign with our own money and making our own choices and loving ourselves and needing nothing outside of us, we will be excited about whatever changes manifest on the outside, because we know it's going to be the shortcut to our true desired destinies. Now, that's a lot for November. I'm putting a lot on you guys, but I'm kind of taking in consideration that you've been watching a bunch of my other videos, World War III, you know, I did the 2020, December 21st activation breakdown videos. This is all on YouTube. And I'm assuming that you are able to speak the language. If not, right over your head, plant the seed another time. Maybe you hit the unlike button. Maybe I'm triggering you. You're welcome. It's all good, because every negative is a shortcut. And that is the message for November. So whether you are getting exactly what you want, use it as a catalyst. If you are getting exactly what you don't want, use it as a catalyst, because every limitation is potential in disguise. And you are quantum, which means you are nothing but vibrating particles until you choose and decide and focus. And whatever you choose, decide, and focus on, you will get. All right? So that is the message for November. I urge you to play, right? Because this is very serious conversation, but really what I'm talking about is that we're making this all up. And that we really do have a choice to stop taking everything so seriously. And then when we begin to play in the energy, it becomes a symphony instead of a rigid, structured, practiced song. And it becomes whatever you choose it to be. And it's able to change without a lot of attachment, and connection returns, and separation is gone, and judgment for yourself and others is removed, because you feel safe with yourself. You feel safe to love yourself. You feel safe to be with yourself. You feel safe to govern yourself. And when you do, you will not need a government. And we won't need a government. And therefore, we'll be completely sovereign, and we won't need laws to basically dictate where we are being in the shadows. All right? So this is what is coming. How long it takes, who cares? Right? We're infinite beings. So whether it takes us 10 lifetimes to do this or one, it is really our choices. It is the choices that you make day to day in your behavior, your discipline and consistency to yourself, that will dictate how quickly this changes. When are the masks going to come off? When our masks come off, right? When is the president going to show up for us? When we show up for us. When are the laws going to change? When we stop putting so much limits on our own potential. When we stop fearing failure and stop worrying about playing small because we're embarrassed about starting over. And stop judging ourselves for starting over, and love unconditionally no matter what is happening. It is when the world that we know it, that we choose to be, will begin to build itself. Now, some of you are going, yeah, that's my life right now. Like, I'm having that. Congratulations, you're there, right? It's super fun over there. It's like a party. And our job, if we are in that space where we've created love and abundance and freedom and magic and health for ourselves, it is our job to be an example, not to go over into the shadows and get stuck in the tar, but to stay in that vibration and vibrate all of that magic without any shred of arrogance, only grace, and beckon through our own energy field that it is a possibility to be the example. All right. So thank you guys so much for joining me. You can find lots of other videos on YouTube. I have a community on Facebook. It's called Quantum Revolution Community. I have tons and tons of workshops. If you are new to my work and you haven't done anything yet, and you're kind of worried, like, where should I start? Start with warrior training. Right? If you did a bunch of workshops of mine and you're still feeling a little lost, go back to warrior training. You know, you're a different person now, so you'll do the workshop differently. Otherwise, we just finished Vision Quest and Quantum Fitness, which was the reconciliation of the human body, allowing space and healing to happen with this relationship, this abuse that we've done with ourselves. Those were my two big workshops that I did this year. Otherwise, I also have a little subscription group there on my website where I just do live Q&As every week and classes. There's no lack of content, and there's a million great teachers out there. We're all saying the same thing in a different perspective, and that's why your version is just as important as my version. So if you're feeling called to speak or teach, please do so. Please put your podcast out there. Please make your videos. You know, please share your testimony, your light, your love, your dark stories that have moved back into light, your transformation, all of those things, because that is what brings us out of judgment when we share, when we go, you know what? He's not perfect. I'm not perfect. Wow, his story is like my story. Wow, he survived what I'm going through. You see, that's how we actually lose judgment, is by sharing, by connecting, by mixing the pot. We think it's a bad thing, but it's a good thing. So put yourself out there and enjoy the journey, guys. All right, I will see you in the classroom.